Brussels has snubbed Boris Johnson's attempt to break the deadlock in the post-Brexit trade talks, it has emerged. The Prime Minister's chief negotiator with the EU handed over 5 new proposals, including on state subsidies and fishing opportunities, in a bid to end months of stalemate. But Lord Frost's negotiating papers, tabled ahead of the latest round of trade talks in Brussels, were rebuffed by EU counterpart Michel Barnier. According to EU sources, the UK's paper on state aid, one of the most contentious outstanding issues, offered some new insights but aren't enough to trigger a proper discussion. European officials say the documents set out a series of principles on controlling domestic subsidies. The EU, however, believes the proposals raise hope Britain would build on the provisions recently signed in the UK-Japan trade deal. The pact with Tokyo stops either side from indefinitely guaranteeing the debts of struggling firms or providing open-ended bailouts without approved structural reforms. But EU diplomats familiar with the discussions insist the new proposals do not contain sufficient information on governance structures to allow the EU to hold the UK to its promises. One Brussels source said any agreement on managing state aid would need to be taken at the highest level because it clashes with the bloc's original trade proposals. The EU originally wanted the UK to write the bloc's state aid rules into domestic law to prevent the government from handing out unfair subsidies. A diplomatic source said, the UK-Japan deal is obviously now the basis but it isn't yet enough and we need to have bite. The state aid plans were issued alongside 4 other documents on fisheries, law enforcement, judicial cooperation, civil nuclear cooperation and social security coordination. As negotiations continue, both sides are eyeing a breakthrough ahead of a crucial summit of European leaders on October 15. Brussels officials played down chances of a so-called tunnel, secretive and intensive negotiations, being formed at the end of this week. A source said, "We only go into the tunnel if there is going to be light at the end of it. People are getting carried away with the positive mood music before we even sit down to negotiate." But in a boost, member states have ordered France to back down from its demands to secure status quo access to Britain's fishing grounds.